RDTDaily.com presents a Tarabuster with comedian Tara Devlin.
What the hell is going on? My name is Tara Devlin. Thanks for hanging out. This is unapologetic liberal talk on the right side of history, decency, dignity, democracy, and humanity. And damn it, don't we need that? I know I do. I'm kind of sick of it. I'm sick of the cruelty. I'm sick of the fascism, and we'll get into it. So if you can support the liberal media, please do so at patreon.com/Tara Devlin, and that will help us keep going and growing in spite of we don't have any billionaires trickling on us, all right? And what else? SoundCloud, iTunes, Stitcher. Give the show a good review on iTunes if you can. That helps. Don't forget to do that. I'm ordering you. Okay, who else? What else? ROKFIN. We're on ROKFIN. Join ROKFIN to get this show bundled in with other shows. Liberal shows, all right? Good people like Lee Camp, Ron PLACONE, who we should get on the show soon. And what else? FYI Nation, of course. I know this is where everybody just fast forwards because it's plugs. We got to do the plugs, and they're really calls to action too. So to help the liberal media, and we need it. This country needs it. If without the liberal media, we don't stand a chance. And we know that the so-called liberal media is really corporate media, the mainstream media. So you either get the Fox News fascist propaganda or you get the corporatist propaganda. In fact, I was on Ron PLACONE's, I was looking at one of his Instagram page, I believe. I wish I had grabbed this. I wish I had taken a shot of it. And there was a shot of 3 billionaires being interviewed on CNN. And the lower third said, socialism or capitalism? Which is better? With just 3 billionaires there giving us all their opinion. Yet the American people, we know how stupid the American people are. I hate to say it. We're damn dumb. We not us, because, well, this is the thing. Whenever I get attacked or whatever, not physically attacked by a Republican, and they'll say you're dumb. They don't really have anything to back it up. As usual, it's just a bunch of babies throwing. Well, baby monkeys throwing poo-poo. But they'll say, oh, wait, hold on. You're dumb. And I'll say, you voted for a tax-cheating, draft-dodging, dictator-envying con man with a fake university and a vitamin scam who received fewer votes. I didn't. I think I win. As far as the smarts go, how stupid you got to be to vote for that con man? But it's beyond stupid. It's racism. This Republicans are always like, that's all you call us. We just call us racist. We have a lot of other words we can call you. It's not that. Yeah, we're the ones who read books, and we know how to speak. We know when to put where to put the apostrophe and YOU''RE. So it's you. It's you. Oh, I'm looking at the chat. What was I saying? Yes. Thank you, Jim, for your super chat right out of the gate. And thank you, Richard W. Another great show, Tara. I think it's going to be a great show. Thank you. I do. I agree with you this time. Because we're going to have Mark and Seth from Shaping Progress. And if you guys saw the announcement last night, we were going to do a show yesterday, but then Shaping Progress, we have to coordinate better with Shaping Progress, because Mark he's like our baby. He's not a baby, but he is our baby, and I don't care how old you are. When you're somebody's baby, you're always their baby. So Mark is a great human being, and so is Seth, and they're going to come on the show. So we all hung out in the Shaping Progress chat room last night, and tonight Mark and Seth are going to be on. We're going to continue. Well, we'll talk about what we were talking about and everything else. I do want to. I do feel for them being a millennial and as fascism breaks out. Well, we're trying. So, and thank you, JD, for your super chat. Good evening, Tara, and all Tara fans. Thank you. And thank you, Errol Thomas, for your super chat. Errol writes, why is it so difficult for Republicans to see things the way us liberals do? Because, I'll tell you right now, they are racist. That's it. It's their fundamental flaw. They lack, well, it's all kind of, I guess I'm trying to process this. It all connects because being a dummy, it's like a vicious circle. Being a dummy makes you a racist. And if you're a racist, you're a damn dummy. Of course you are. And so it goes for the racism, right? It is a fundamental sickness inside themselves, and yeah, I think that's what it comes down to, a maturity that they lack, and they're not that swift. So they lack this mature, and no one is encouraging them to evolve. Their dim leader, the people they vote for, the morons who, I mean, well, they're all morons, but they're the nefarious morons who trick them because they sell this fake freedom to them. It's not freedom, honey. You're a sucker. It's not freedom to pay. Let's say most people pay 35% around their tax rate, while Jeff Bezos pays effing 1%. This just came out. Jeff Bezos, I don't know. I don't want to look it up right now, but he paid a tax rate of 1.1%, and that's really a big FU to humanity, but we allow it. Because of the sickness, we're ruled by sick people who are greedy, and they have no allegiance to the Constitution, because if they did, we wouldn't be in this boat. All of the Supreme Court justices that whittled away at campaign finance laws and allowed money in politics, that they knew what they were doing. They knew it, because the biggest fear for a conservative is democracy truly breaking out. Of course, we're not talking about true democracy. We're talking about a democratic republic. True democracy would be a one person, one vote type deal. That's not what we have. But it's, we Democrat. What is it? We are a constitutionally limited democratic republic. So they don't like that. And the power structure, the elites who have worked years and years and years to entrench their rule, they know how to push people's buttons and pull their strings, because they're nefarious. They're not operating out of some altruism. They're not operating out of the higher notion of a democratic republic. Oh, yes, we're all in this together. No. They want to steal, and they want us to cheer them all along as they do it. That's why the Republicans are so dumb, the ones who vote for these assholes, because all they're doing is saying, yes, my lord, take my money and funnel it into Jeff Bezos' pocket so he can jerk off in space. Yes, my lord, as they run around down here, while Bezos is laughing all the way to space as he's pleasuring himself, the idiots are down here with their AK-47s and their tiki torches and their N-word and their critical race theory freak out bullshit and their, mask resistance, all of this. You think you think that's freedom? They think they're fighting for freedom when they're fighting for their own goddamn oppression. We're fighting for freedom, and it includes trying to get through to some of them. I mean, I don't know about all. They are the minority, so we can leave them in the dustbin of history where they belong, legally and peacefully. But there are others who might consider themselves Democrats or normal people or or independents. Hold on. This is Tara Devlin, Unapologetic Liberal Talk. Uh-oh. What happened there? What happened there? My Roku went off. See? Now you're seeing how the cake is made here. Now you know. We're doing it anyway. That's how I look at the show. It's not perfect, but we're doing it at a... Why are you texting me now? Okay. Yeah, they're clowns. Okay, what I wanted to talk about before we have Mark and Seth get in here. There's so much to talk about. In fact, actually, I was going to go into the Giuliani thing, but one thing we can talk about and be a good segue into bringing Mark and Seth on is something yesterday as I'm perusing social media to, I don't know, figure out what the hell's going on in this world. There was something posted by a liberal site on Instagram. And so I'm sorry to say I didn't grab it, but wait, what is this? No, that's not it. It was an article about this billionaire. This woman. She's done this before. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. Mackenzie Scott. Oh, fucking Christ. You know what I mean? I don't know what's going on with my web pages. I have to sign in constantly. Holy shit. Thomas, I'm on the air. Why are you calling me now? Tell everybody.
Because you were so worried, I felt bad.
Okay. No, I know. You don't usually not respond for days.
And the answer to come on the show was yes, I'd love to.
Oh, okay. Well, we have Mark and Seth are calling in a half hour, so if that goes, if they end up, if there's enough time.
No worries, and I'm sorry.
You're fine. You're on the air now, so it's okay.
Okay.
I'll talk to you later. All right, bye-bye. That's Thomas, Thomas from FYI Nation and the FYI Nation morning show. What was it? What I was saying was I'm trying to log into Washington Post that I have a subscription for it. Like I have a subscription to every friggin' thing, every other thing. That's another reason why I ask you to become patrons because, it costs money to do this shit. But, and now for some reason, every time I open a web page, and even though I tell it to save my info, it doesn't. And I have to fucking log in all over again. It's really annoying, especially when, like right now that we're on the air. And if anybody has any suggestions how to fix that, I don't know what to do. I emptied the cache. I blah, blah, blah. So, all right. Sign in to the Washington Post. Yes. Damn it. All right. So, Mackenzie Scott, who is a billionaire, donates $133 million for in-school support services. Wonderful. Another money bomb has fallen from the bank account of Mackenzie Scott. This time, a large donation to support a group that provides services inside schools for at-risk students aimed at helping them thrive and graduate. That's great. But you know what? That's not the way this thing is supposed to work. That's not how democracy is supposed to work. So one of these liberal sites, and I'm sure all over the place, they were like, congratulations or great, whatever, just saying how wonderful Mackenzie Scott is. This is just shows how some billionaires have good hearts, and all the comments. So I went through the comments, and I was looking for any sign of awareness and understanding that this is not supposed to run that way. That's not democracy. I'm sorry. We're not supposed to live and die under the good graces of our betters. Schools are not supposed to have funding if they find a rich benefactor. That's not how this thing is supposed to work. So we are so far off the track here, because to my disgust, nobody but me, because then I was trying to find it. I'm sorry, guys. I can't tell you. I had a goddamn day that I couldn't. I was just nonstop, and it was really annoying. So all of the prep I wanted to do I wasn't able to do it. So we're just gonna wing it. That's how it goes. But you know what I'm saying. To me, and I hope to you too, that while we can say that isn't that wonderful, filling in the gaps for this broken system, but all that does is perpetuate the broken system, because everybody's too busy praising her for being such a benevolent lord. Oh, thank you, milady. Thank you. Am I the only one that sees this? Because this is offensive to me. I don't care if it's going for a good cause. It's okay, great, take the money, because that's the reality we live in. But when you do, we should be making an announcement and saying, you know what, this is great, Mackenzie. And of course it comes in handy, but we wouldn't have to beg billionaires for a trickle if not for the broken ass system, if not for our kiss up, kick down system, where we fund education through property taxes, which is a racist ass policy that persists. And I don't ever hear Democrats talking about that. Education in this country is vital for democracy. Therefore, there should be no good schools and bad schools. They should all be good schools. The reason we don't have good schools, and the reason we have this disparity is because of deliberate effing Jim Crow racist ass morons, their prick bastard enablers who put this shit into policy. So there would be ghettos, and there would be a certain segment of society that would be little bit lower on the ladder all the time. How do you get into the so-called middle class? I mean, I know that's a joke right now, but how do you get into the so-called middle class from that kind of upbringing, let's say, or that kind of disparity? And then what happens? We see that, I mean, maybe, upbringing is not the right word, of course, but the disparity. And then when someone does make it, and it's usually, you'll see the corporate media will praise that person for whatever, however they did it, usually, or playing sports, or getting, for some innovator that made something of themselves in spite of all the, in spite of this. My father was a coal miner. My mother was a Coca-Cola lover. Hold on. This is Tara Devlin. We'll be right back. All right, we're back. I'm looking at the chat. Oh, thank you, Jim, again. What the hell? You could save this stuff as screen caps when you first find it. No, I know. I think it was going by too fast, and I was doing other things. I usually do that. Trust me. I am preparing the show all day and through my life. Whenever something, even when sometimes I'll be driving and I'll think of something and I'll turn on the note and I'll dictate a note into it. It never stops. So, yeah. And thank you, JLza for your super chat. Hi, Tara. Thank you for being the Tarabuster. Yep. Classism has never been more entrenched. Through my heart, I find a way to humility, as pissed as I am. Well, yeah. Though for my heart. I didn't read that correctly. But sometimes I have a little dyslexia. It's weird. Does that happen in your old age, dyslexia? I feel like I have it now. Can you catch that? But you know what I'm saying? Am I off base here? To me, I don't think it's that hard to fix this country. We don't have the will because of the entrenched power structure, and we have so many useless idiots and some useful idiots. We actually have some people that, just like, liberals, maybe even on watching this show, liberals, normal people, good people, decent people that are we're the ones posting, oh, thank you, this is great. And the meme itself said something about how, you see, some billionaires have good hearts. Who fucking cares? Is that how we're supposed to live? Isn't that why the founders fought a revolution? Because, they didn't fight a revolution so we would just rebuild the same entrenched intergenerational aristocracy here. And it's frustrating. That's why I'm talking about it, because it feels like nobody realizes it. And then when I point it out, it's like, oh, yeah, right. It's because we've been so propagandized. It's entrenched. It goes to show you how successful the corporate media has been. And I'm sure you'll see a story about it, about Mackenzie Scott trickling some money on a school. Just like we saw years ago, well, I think he does it regularly, Stephen Colbert giving money to his elementary school alma mater. That's great. But why? It shouldn't be that way. We have enough for everyone's need, but not for everyone's greed. God damn it, that's really it. As Jeff Bezos jerks off around the world now. The whole world. I mean, this mother effer who went to see the big blue marble from space, and unfortunately, I guess it hasn't worn off when he got back at home, because he's got a yacht that needs a yacht to service the big yacht that's so big that it can't go under a bridge. And you know what? F you. F that. Here in the United States of Serfs and Lords, meanwhile, his workers, and trust me, I get emails from right-wingers, and they'll say, Amazon's a good job, and they'll all, I don't know what they get out of constant their pathological Stockholm syndrome. Whether it's a good job or not, so they pay $15 an hour. They could pay double that. Why don't they? Could you imagine? Like 30, well, now it's 40 years ago. 40 years ago, the main employer in the country was General Motors. A good union job. that paid living wages. Their starting salary was $35 an hour back then. Oops. And remember when Obama saved the auto industry? One of the concessions that they made with the union was that new employees couldn't start at a $35 an hour salary. They had to start lower. I think it was $15 an hour. And there were all these other concessions with no job security and whatnot. So 40 years ago, the number one employer in the country was GM. And today, I think, I don't know, it was Walmart. I think Amazon passed it. But still, Amazon should pay living wages. There should be no reason why anybody who has a job needs to go on public assistance. And we know the horrors of Walmart. One of the more disgusting aspects was that they would give seminars to their employees about how to apply for public assistance. Meanwhile, the Walton family, 5 mother effers, have more wealth than half the population, and we accept that. It's not about, and then the other thing, the right wingers. Sometimes when I'm talking, I hear them in my head responding, because they're so predictable too. They say the same things until whatever their justifications are, and then it immediately goes to your pick your pejorative. So, because they got nothing. You're stupid, you're this, you're that, or they'll say, you, whatever. Well, I don't need to repeat it. But they're just a bunch of effing greedy clowns. Clowns. All right, let me see. If you're listening, call in. Mark. Mark. And thank you. Wait. I'm losing my voice. Thank you, Mark C., for your super chat. Please repeat and spread liberally. The Republicon, well, he says Republican. The Republican Party is dead and are now the Fascist Party. Yes, they are. And we're going to talk about that, too. How they censured Cheney and Kinzinger. It's hard to say. You say it. You say it 10 times, all right? So, let's see. Saul and I will be ready around 9. Okay, yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I got more to talk about, really. Good. Fine. So Saul and Mark are calling in at 9. So, I don't know why I just want to warn you. I feel like my voice is going. That's why I'm drinking a lot of coffee. I hope that doesn't disgust you. I know how gross it might sound if you're just listening and you hear me like, Goop, and coughing and gulping. That's why I say become a patron, because, maybe I can get some help up in this bitch for this bitch. All right, let's talk about, we'll talk about the billionaires too, of course. It's all related. The clown show that is the Republican Party. What a bunch of, that's all I said to myself. What a bunch of clowns. Treason clowns, yeah. Traitor clowns. But they have no dignity. They bring absolutely zero dignity to the table. I don't know how they get away with what they are. And I guess it's because they're all the same. You know what I mean? They don't care as long as the base doesn't care, because they have no decency. They don't care as long as they can say the N-word or, feel like they're superior somehow. So, this is from Deadline. Of course, spoiler alert, Rudy Giuliani was unmasked for an exciting... As an exiting costumed contestant. I don't know this show, but the other Republicans have appeared on it. most notably Sarah Palin. And, well, that's who she is. When Sarah Palin went, they tried to put her one heartbeat away from the presidency. She's a clown, too. A clown, a treason clown, yeah. But all she wanted was a reality show. If you're in it for altruism, how do you resign your governorship to go do a reality show? Right? If that's your aspiration, to be a public servant, and you have an offer to do a reality show, which it was a vile, disgusting trip through depravity, really. Just disgusting. And we talked about it before on the show, how she killed a moose and chopped it up on camera as she giddily chopped it up. I mean, just a filthy ghoul. And, you know, that moose was the sacrifice for Sarah Palin's ego. This is Tara Devlin. We were talking about the clown show. So, here, where the heck is it? Look at this. Look at this clown. America's fascist mayor. Another thing the Republicans will inundate me with, if ever I talk about Giuliani, is how great he was. What a great mayor he was. And that's a myth, too. He cleaned up New York. He didn't do whatever alone. And there were a lot of other reasons why. I mean, I don't want to really get into that, but if ever he was a good mayor, he was just that's far behind him. It makes, I mean, think about, he sucked as a mayor, and anybody on 9/11 would have done whatever he did, and a decent mayor wouldn't have put the command center in World Trade Center number 7, especially after the World Trade Center was already attacked in 92. So there were many reasons why he sucked. His corruption, his, of course, what was that? Bernie character. They're all in it for themselves, for money. And the one thing about September 11th, what it really irritates me, is how the Republicans branded him as America's mayor, yet Hillary Clinton was right there. I'm not a Hillary Clinton fan or whatever, but she was right there alongside him. Why wasn't she America's senator? What did he do? And in fact, the Republicans really did a lot more damage, not only using 9/11 as a pretext to attack a country that had nothing to do with 9/11, just to attack a country they always wanted to attack for years. Talk about a betrayal of trust in the United States, right? That's what they do. If Al Gore was president, as he should have been because he got the most votes, I highly doubt we would have gone into Afghanistan or Iraq as a military adventure. That's what they did in 92. They got all the perpetrators and they put them on trial, as we should in a democratic republic. But the Republicans, they always criticize that, because they're fascists. Just like I've always said, the Constitution is just a goddamn piece of paper to them. They don't want to read anybody their rights. This is how I'm sure you remember them constantly attacking Obama, saying, oh, Obama's soft on terrorism because he's reading people their rights. Well, that's the right that so many fought, bled, and died to entrust to us. And it's such a heartbreak, because when you think about the Americans during World War II, how we prosecuted the case against fascism, it was to not see Churchill and others wanted nothing to do with a trial for the Nazis. He wanted them put up against the wall and shot. And many, that's what they deserved. But it was really the Americans that convinced Churchill and the rest of the Allies to put them on trial, because we were fighting for democracy. We're fighting for the rule of law. And this is, just like how George Washington stopped the Nuremberg conspiracy, because he convinced his officers, we're fighting not for your measly paycheck, but for an ideal. We're fighting for the ideal of a free people who can rule themselves. And if you storm the Capitol at the time and demand payment or whatever, you will cheapen the sacrifices that everyone made in the 7 years fighting the war. But you see, Republicans never have the best interest of the American people, much less democracy or the Constitution at heart, as they know. That's why they're so nauseating, on top of everything else, just nauseating looking at them with the sweating. I mean, what is that? What did he do? Is that hair dye and he sweated out? Oh, how? I don't understand. How does that happen? Is that like a temporary dye? That's whatever. But it goes to show you, I mean, these people are effed up. And they don't have the best interests of democracy. And in order to function in a democracy, a person needs to have a level of maturity. And that's why education is so important, and the rule of law is so important, and everything that is required for a functioning democracy is inconvenient for the Republicans. Prove me wrong. All the while, for years, we've been saying, and every Republican chest beats the heart of fascism. Back in the day, when the Patriot Act, when they started torturing people, whenever Republicans get their greedy, unfit, inhumane, immature, greed-centered clutches around the neck of power, they squeeze the life out of decency, dignity, democracy, and humanity. Really, prove me wrong. How proud are we? I remember seeing that photo exhibit of the couple of bad apples at Abu Ghraib. No one ever was held accountable for that, except the low people on the totem pole. What about Dick Cheney? Ordering torture in violation of the Geneva Conventions, because the Geneva Conventions is just another goddamn piece of paper. Like Cheney said at the time, they are someone on the corporate media was interviewing him, and they said the American people don't want this war, and he said, so? That's the Republican way. So? They're fascists. Back then, Robyn, we were all screaming, and Mike Malloy, that in every Republican chest beats the heart of fascists. But nobody, it's like, not everybody doesn't want to hear it, doesn't want to, but the whole system has been set up to disassociate people from the government, when we should all be engaged. It shouldn't be the 9 most dangerous words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help. Right then should be the warning sign, and people should sort of say, what are you talking about? That's the government that so many died for. That's the government that those men who stormed the beaches of Normandy died for. What are you effing talking about? You jackass. You effing clown. Go back to Bozo. But the thing is, when I'm looking at this Giuliani picture and you see how the whole system is set up to really cheapen us, and kind of it's set up to fail. At this point, there will be no political consequences for Giuliani. None. For being on the mass saying, what the fuck is he on there anyway for? Right? Why should a fascist get a spot on a game? I don't even know what this is. What is this? It's like a clown show. Oh, and they all do it. Sarah Palin, she's not just on her own. She's the mass singer, singing "Baby Got Back." Who else? Sean Spicer, remember? I think I have him. Yeah. They're horrible. I just want anybody to think. Any Democrats do things like this? Former presidents, anybody, any former whatever, former press secretaries. The Democrats don't do it because Democrats they're not clowns to the extent that these effing fascists are. Bread and circus without the bread. That's what we have here. Just a goddamn circus. That's why I feel a responsibility to our millennial correspondent Mark and Seth, his producer. Because they had to live in this world that we left them like this. The country, the promises of democracy, it's really pissing me off that we've been promised. It's like my whole life. For example, just growing up, going into the National Guard. All this time, I'm thinking that we are living in a democracy. And there's something here. Anyway, hold on. I think I'm going off the rails there. Here we go. Because I'm looking for Sean. Look. Oh, my God. You want to get sick? I'm sorry. If I have to look at this. I'm not watching this shit alone. Sean Spicer, Night Fever. To do it. Clown. And then Trump, the president of the effing so-called president of the United States, remember he tweets, "Everyone vote for Sean." It's beyond. Sometimes you just don't know what to say. Here's our other favorite fascist.
With the stars. Next, he has braved some of the most perilous situations in the world.
Like what? Kissing Putin's ass? Kissing Erdogan's ass? Oh, you know who he is. Your favorite pasty-faced chicken boy heir. He's a chicken murderer. Although every single chicken that ever lost its life for a Swanson dinner has more value, more decency, it gave more to the world than Tucker effing Tuckyo Rose fascist Erdogan kissing ass Carlson. Why can't I say that name? Carlson. It doesn't come out. Then his entire Swanson family have in their friggin' whole lineage. One single chicken. That's what pisses me off, and he doesn't care.
Now his most intimidating assignment, dancing the cha-cha-cha on national television. It's political journalist Tucker Carlson.
Political journalist. Okay? Just say it enough and it comes true for these fascists. Political journalist who a couple of days ago made an announcement that he's not a Russian asset, which means definitely, most definitively, he is a Russian asset. Of course he is. If you aren't a Russian asset on purpose, you're a Russian asset by accident, because they're using your propaganda. They're showing your lies in Russia and talking about what a great guy you are. You know, that autocracy, that oligarchy that's about to invade another democratic country. Wow. I mean, sometimes I just can't believe it, too. They're out of the closet with the fascism. I don't understand why anybody votes for them. Any true patriot. They're not patriots. These are the domestic enemies the founders warned us about. And they suck at dancing, too. They suck at singing. They suck at masked singing. And they suck at being, I guess, just enjoying their lives. They can't even do it with dignity, decency, or humanity. They're just douchey. Being a douche.
Professional partner Elena Granyenko.
Poor woman.
My name is Tucker Carlson. I'm a journalist. I wrote
You're
for
not-
magazines and newspapers for about 10 years. And I've been
You're not a journalist. You're a fascist.
television news for about 6. There are some unknown number of Israeli forces, the hundreds, maybe the thousands.
Oh, wow. Get that clip. I mean, trying to give him some legitimacy. Here I am at the Israeli-Lebanon border with bombs blowing up behind me. Ooh, Tucker, chicken boy, who got fired from MSNBC, fired from CNN, brings nothing to the table, but that's another symptom of the sickness. We're here. We live in a country where Chicken Boy and Meghan McCain, trust fund brat, these ill-informed, sophomoric plutocrats, I don't even know, what do you call them? They have these large platforms and they spread their bullshit. While the American people are, working their side gigs, their side hustles. I know the jobs are great job report. Even the fascists on Fox News, the propagandists, of course, they were prepping the audience. Oh, it's going to be bad. And they want America to fail. And when a jobs report came out and it was good, they really didn't know what to do. But in my opinion, I mean, okay, a lot of jobs. I heard somebody on the corporate media saying, so if you need a job, they were, of course, blaming people for there's a labor shortage. And someone on the corporate media was saying, oh, if you need a job, just go out and get one. But what kind of jobs? That's what I want to know. Are these decent union jobs with living wages and retirement security? What kind of jobs are we talking about when we're living in a country where the rich just got a lot more richer in the past 2 years of the pandemic? Okay, a lot of jobs, but pay people a living wage. It's not just about getting a job. Yeah, let's go get a job doing what? Boxing oranges at Food Mart. Okay. What's the salary? How much is the CEO getting compared to the lowest worker? Because 40 years ago, it used to be about 50 times. The CEO would earn 50 times the lowest paid worker. Now it's, I mean, last I looked, it was like 435% difference. I'm sure it's wider now. That's what I'm talking about, guys. This learned goddamn helplessness of the majority of the American people. They're malinformed. They're misinformed. And they wonder why everything sucks. Why people are declaring medical bankruptcy. Why the country's divided. We're so divided because they divide us constantly. And everyone is at a breaking point. I mean, the stress. I believe that this whole country has PTSD, but there's no unity. Do you know that this, if not for the fascists, we could have come out of this pandemic a more unified country with universal health care, which is a unifying thing. That's how it needs to be framed. It's also patriotic, so not leaving people behind. Anyway, why are we looking at this? Look at him. This pudgy little fascist. He's never had a hard day in his life. Talk about sacrifice. This guy has never sacrificed lunch. Born on third base, thinking he hit a triple. And now he's out here telling everybody who's lazy, who, that he's basically telling his dupes that democracy doesn't work. So why not use violence? Why not overthrow the government?
When I first got the call about doing this, I thought they must be calling the wrong guy. My dance experience consists of drinking too much at a couple rehearsal dinners.
Oh my God, he's such a dick.
My name is Giuliani, and I'm current region champion on the dance floor.
You poor
hot,
woman.
Sexy, and most of all, very feminine.
Tucker Carlson.
Lena, nice to meet you.
Ew.
I will be more nervous.
I'm sure his
dancing, I think,
hands
than I
are
was in Beirut.
clammy as hell.
One.
All right, let's go to this. Oh, look.
3. That was a good one.
Oh! I'm starting to like the cha-cha. The key, I've decided, to this
Oh
whole
my
enterprise is don't
God.
think. This is a physical thing.
2. That's a good one.
I have total confidence. I think of myself as a cha-cha master.
Yeah, okay, good. So
Ugh.
show me that. If I'll be able to get him
Gross.
through show 1, that'd be great. If I could get him through a couple of shows, that'd be just amazing.
What do I want to achieve? Victory. Victory in Latin dance.
Dancing the cha-cha-cha, Tucker Carlson and his partner Elena Grinyenko.
I think Sean Spicer did this one too. I think he did. Oh, who else was on it? Rick Perry, he was on that too. And he did the chair thing where the woman dances around him because he can't dance. All right, we'll be right back. We're just mocking Tucker Carlson. It's incredible. How do these people get away with being such douchebags on top of destroying democracy? They pay no price for this. What would happen if a Democrat did that? That's all you got to do is play the what if game. Let's imagine if Obama, what if Malia or Sasha, right, did something like this, was on Dancing with the Stars. Get the fuck out of here. Wait, which? Oh my God. All right, I have to stop that. That's terrible. And I want to say thank you, Mark C, for your super chat. Oh, well, I already said that. Please repeat it. Well, it needs to be repeated. Please repeat and spread liberally. The Republican Party is dead and are now the Fascist Party. Yes, that's it. They really are. That's how I have to. I always say, well, whatever. It's amazing. And you know what is also crazy making and why the corporate media is so damaging is because even through all of this, the storming of the Capitol, the traitorous scumbag who received fewer votes, insisting that the election was stolen, and everybody knows he's a liar. The corporate media continues to enable it and validate them as legitimate choices, as if and they're also saying now because what happened, Pence said that he couldn't overturn the election, and they're giving him a lot of props. He's going against is that all it takes? He told the truth a little too late. He also sprinkled in the same old bullshit that there were irregularities in the voting, although he knows that's a lie. They all do. Irregularities. We just want, there are questions that we're the ones who are making people question it. It's incredible. Well, we know that here's from The Guardian. Let's see. That's not it. Hold on. Thank you for everything, everybody. So from The Guardian, from Martin Pengelly, in an extraordinary move, the Republican Party officially said Donald Trump's attempt to overturn his 2020 election defeat and the deadly attack on the U.S. Capitol were legitimate political discourse. Are you kidding me? No, I'm not. They're not kidding. They're not kidding. They want us all to forget it. Down the rabbit hole. Down the memory hole is more like it. Where is it? I'm looking for... Shit. Here's Trump acting presidential while I look for this.
Remember I used to say I can be more presidential. Look.
Oh, you bastard. This is another example of them denigrating this country. Mocking us. This could have been Kim Jong-un up there making fun of the United States.
I said I can be more presidential than any president in history, except for Honest Abe.
Fucking Honest Abe. Like he knows the first thing about honest anything. Except for Honest Abe. Where is our... Maybe they're not calling in. I feel bad now because Thomas wanted to join the show, and I told him that we already had a couple of people calling in. So, maybe next time. God damn it. I need a producer. My producer is he's in the bathroom. He doesn't want to produce tonight. It's unbelievable. All right, call in, you bastards. I mean, I'm trying to stall here because I don't want to start another thing and then we have to stop. So, I mean, I guess that's the way it is with millennials. What can you do? Hold on. Let me see if they're fucking calling in. This is annoying. You see? I'm on a fucking show. Like, it's live. Are you calling in? It was 8:30, now it's 9. Are you calling in? Okay, I mean, we can just continue to talk. It doesn't... we don't have to have somebody call in. Right? No, Pookie's mama Irene says Tara Jr.'s in the bathroom. He's producing something, yes. No, he's laying on there's a little shelf there. He likes to lay on it. And I guess he likes to look at himself. He is rather cute, don't you think? Why can't I find... anyway, whatever. we'll just go on. We'll just live our lives and pretend that we never, ever discussed coming on the show. So, yes, GOP declares deadly Capitol attack legitimate political discourse. From Common Dreams. January 6th was not legitimate political discourse. It was a violent insurrection on our Capitol, said Representative Pramila Jayapal. I didn't know if I'd make it out alive. And others too. Yeah, it was a legitimate political discourse. You bring zip ties and you erect a gallows. You plant pipe bombs. Right? Legitimate political discourse. But you get it. They have always considered violence and being fascist, disgusting fascists as just another political strategy. I wrote an article years ago about how treason is just another Republican strategy. And starting with Reagan, we talk about, Tom Hartman talks about it, how Eisenhower was the last legitimately elected Republican president. And he was. Wait, insurrection? I need somebody to type while I'm talking. So Reagan, how did Reagan commit treason? He negotiated with our enemies to hold the hostages, so it would be damaging to his opponent. Oh, it wasn't Reagan. Before Nixon committed treason. That reminds me. When we have this is another thing. On tape, a couple of years ago, I know Tom Hartman used to play this all the time. Johnson saying to Everett Dirksen that he knew that Nixon was negotiating with their enemies, with America's enemies. Hold on, we'll be right back. All right, this is Tara Devlin, Unapologetic Liberal Talk. So, like I was saying, Nixon, so a couple of years ago, the Presidential Library released this tape of Johnson telling Everett Dirksen that the CIA knew that Nixon was talking with the enemies of America, the Vietnamese enemies, who the United States was at war with, and he was making deals with them to, I guess, for his political gain. And that's treason. That's treason right there. What if I picked up the phone and started negotiating? Not that I have anything to negotiate with, but you know what I mean? Any one of us would be in jail. We'd have a visit from the FBI. And if it was real legitimate treason, we would be in jail. So this tape was released and it made nothing. I didn't get into the news, nothing. There was not a blip on the radar. If this were a functioning democracy, I think that would have been kind of a bombshell, that a president said to the leader of the Republican Party that he knew that Nixon, who was a private citizen running for presidency, was having talks with America's enemies so it would help him in his political campaign. And they were making deals. When he wasn't the president, you don't do that. All he did was undermine the president and the United States, and they kept people there fighting and dying for nothing. So Johnson said, I don't want to get this into the campaign. This is treason. And Everett Dirksen said, yeah, I know. And it didn't even make a goddamn headline. Nixon committed treason, Johnson says. What I mean, to me, it's another example of how far we've fallen. Mark is on the phone. Mark, are you there? Mark.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm here.
All right. Mark, our millennial correspondent, the creator and host of Shaping Progress. Links in the description down below. And is Seth with us?
Thank you for the plug.
Of course, of course. Do you have Seth with you?
Yes, Saul.
Oh,
here.
Saul. Why do I say Seth? What I am so sorry. I have to change it because I don't know. I think I had it stuck in my mind as Seth. Okay, sorry
Saul.
Sorry. I have too many names in my brain running around. But yes, when you said Saul, I was like, oh yeah. So we were yesterday. Mark had a show, and the topic was what was it? Spirituality and philosophy, and it was really good.
Exactly. Thank you.
Thanks for your support during that, Tara.
Oh,
Means
of course.
Yeah.
Of course. And I hope that.
I'm glad.
Well, go ahead. Say. There's a little delay.
I was
so.
just gonna say I'm glad to have both of you guys here. You guys are like my brain trust for this thing.
Right. That's cool. Right. FDR had his brain trust. We all need that.
Yeah.
So what? So let me ask you a question. I know you're very liberal, and you live in a liberal part of the country for the most part. And I'm just wondering about young people, since you are the millennial correspondent of the Tarabuster show.
Yeah.
What are young people engaged in what's going on? I mean, how do they? What's the just taking the temperature? I know you don't speak for the entire youth, but what is your experience with young people that you know?
Yeah, I would say for the most part, I think young people are certainly more engaged than most of the other generations.
Mm-hmm.
No matter which side of the aisle they fall on. But it's kind of in a different way, because for young people, sorting through the propaganda the way Saul and I do is not as common. Like most people our age just pick sides, you know.
Oh,
you would really think that the youth would be as a whole more progressive, and I think while the progressive element in our generation has gotten stronger, there's this equally strong sort of pushback. You know, I've met these kids with fascist views who don't even realize, you know, what they're advocating for.
Oh, really?
You know, and a lot of that has to do with parenting.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You know, because a child can only open their mind as much as their parent will
That's
allow
true.
them to.
That's true. And many of these kids do definitely parrot their parents' views. And
absolutely,
that gets really tough, especially when those much more fascist people our age really don't get at all what fascism is. Some of them certainly see it as kind of like a boogeyman that doesn't really exist, but we know better, obviously.
That's kind of scary because we talk about it on the show that democracy is not a guarantee, and it needs cultivating like your garden needs cultivating, like your house needs to be, kept up with, and you don't just move in and let everything fall to pot. You have to cultivate the foundation. You got to make sure things are working, and the American people, and I think this is really by design, of course, since Reagan he was really the first one who attacked public education and made the university UCLA used to be free, and now we have kids, young people coming out of college, and they're nothing but indentured servants to the banks. Who could pay this off? And of course the Republicans, they blame people for getting degrees. You shouldn't get a degree. Well, that was your fault. And this is a time bomb waiting to go off in this country too. How can you get established, if you're just saddled with debt? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and to use that garden metaphor, what we've got right now is like a number of really invasive species that have, the seeds have flown into the yard and they're taking over.
I think the issue too lies in, you're talking about these economic changes that make it harder to live. I think that's caused a lot of younger people to basically just take for granted the fact that the American dream is dead in a lot of senses. And the issue
ignore it.
Yeah, and the issue with that is that it pushes people to the right. It makes them more authoritarian just as much as it pushes you left.
Yep.
So our generation is just as much of a mixed bag as the ones that came before.
That's true. Yeah, it's always that's human beings are always human beings, and there are a certain percentage of people who are authoritarian personalities. They have it, and I mean they've done studies, and it's around 35%. That's why in my opinion, Trump's approval never went below 35%, even though his poll numbers sucked. So, but it never went below 35%. I found that interesting because that was the same percentage of people who are authoritarian personalities, and just in general. And the thing about when they attacking education. If it kind of scares me hearing that young people don't understand that they're being fascist, that I'm sorry, that's a fascist, that's not democracy, that's fascism that you're talking about. And that's pretty scary. Because
political apathy is pretty rampant,
Right.
Empathy seems to be in short supply.
Yeah, if when we're talking about the amount of young people that are progressive, that's already a small percentage, but it's even smaller percentage that's caring about uniting and being altruistic and empathetic. Yeah.
That's scary too, because I think if I'm looking at it from somebody who's older and just hearing this, it feels like young people aren't being taught democracy. They're not being taught this. We're in this together, and it's only going to get worse with the Republicans, where the way they're attacking public education in general. You can't teach about what now. They're saying Black History Month itself is critical race theory. I don't know if you heard that one, but it's unbelievable. So it makes sense that young people would be like, this, and they don't want to get involved because it doesn't seem like it's working for them, and they want to do their own thing. And it's kind of like that is why the Republicans do what they do. They want people to be turned off and not engage. Hold on, we'll be right back. That's loud.
I was going to mention.
All right, we're back. What were you saying, Mark? We're talking to Mark and Saul from Shaping Progress. So join Shaping Progress. Link is in the description. And yes, they're young. They're the millennial correspondents of the Tarabuster show. So we're checking in with the youth. What were you going to say, Mark?
One thing I was going to say, I always try and make this as clear as I can. It's not just that that Republicans and the Republicans and Democrats, but the political establishment isn't just not incentivized to promote democracy. They're incentivized not to promote democracy.
Right.
They're incentivized to promote fascism because otherwise they will run out of workers, and the system won't work the way they need it to. So yeah.
Right. And that's why
that's really the root.
Yes. Yeah. And as we know throughout history, businesses are fine with fascism. If you look at the United States, we helped arm Hitler, and what's his name? Prescott Bush got cited, or whatever they call it, because he was trading with the enemy. He got in trouble, under FDR's Trading with the Enemy Act, because FDR said in World War II, there will be not one war millionaire made during this war. So they really tamped down on that kind of grift. And, it just goes to show you, Prescott Bush, that's George W. Bush's grandpappy, was just another traitor, really. They don't care who they're dealing with. They're getting paid.
I mean, the United States, every time they've participated in a conflict with a supposedly noble goal, that sort of noble goal has actually been a byproduct of the sort of, the imperialistic desires that they are trying to conceal. Yeah.
Right. Right.
And, another important thing is with the corporatist element of fascism. I mean, it's not just that corporations and companies want to keep their workers in line. It's also that they want to merge into and form parts of the government.
Right.
And that's really what they've been able to pull off to the largest extent, in my opinion, in the world right now in America, through lobbying and through corporate control. So,
right.
Yeah.
And money in politics. All of the stopgaps to prevent an oligarchy and to prevent fascism in general have been whittled away. And the people now think that this is normal. That's why we were talking about in the beginning of the show, the billionaire trickling on a school that needed help. And liberals going off, how great, isn't this great? It's not great. I don't know. That to me, that is a case in point how...
It's the least that can be done.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, to point out that, okay, great, thank you for doing that, but you shouldn't have to do this if we had a functioning democracy. That's how it works. You're supposed to, everybody pays their fair share, and then we fund schools, we fund roads, we fund the water so that we can drink, we fund FDA, all of that. It shouldn't be we are just living and dying under the good graces of a billionaire who's, she's nice. Everybody was like praising her, and these were liberals. And I mean, okay, great, praise her. But it is it's an opportunity to point out the sickness and what's wrong. And we're just even now with the Republicans calling January 6th legitimate political discourse or whatever, some people are going to think that's true. It's so twisted at this point. I don't know. I don't know.
That made me think of one very important factor for our generation, and that is celebrities.
Yes.
Pop culture, because celebrities are put into their positions in order to be the people who kind of trickle on the rest of us.
Right.
And then all of our age people applaud. I see all the time, I know you're active on Instagram. In our generation, one of the weird things to watch other people do, and one of the ways you can gauge how politically active someone really is oftentimes there will be these big celebrity events. Like recently, it was Rihanna's pregnancy, and you'll watch just all of these people our age repost the celebrities' posts. They've never met them.
Wow. Yeah.
Enormous fans
wow.
of them. And it's like crazy the amount of impact that kind of thing can have on people in our generation.
Yeah. And it just seems, I guess, that's what, it's kind of a nice distraction from the horrors of the system itself. I mean, there are good things. That's what the other day we were talking about. Okay, what do we love about America? Because that's another thing. The corporate media has a vested interest in constantly telling us how great the country is. Believe me, in the future, they're going to look at this as the propaganda it is. And I got to ask, like, what? I want to know. What do you love? I know Mika Brzezinski loves America. Of course, she's got a great life. You know, she's rich. She's got, you know, she's paying no taxes. She's sitting, you know, what about the 80% living check to check? What do they love? Okay, I appreciate that we have roads and, you know, that I don't have to walk around in a burqa. That's what I think, you know. Okay, I was born in a Western country. But other than that, everything is a struggle here. Going to the doctor. It's gross that people have to declare medical bankruptcy. It's a part of the sickness and the division. But yeah,
well, I can watch, you know, Kim Kardashian and Kanye give a tour of their billion-dollar house and look out my window down on the street and see right there people living in tents.
Right.
And it's, you know, how can we in good faith allow this to happen to people and not help people when we have resources like we do?
That's it. Yeah.
I think that the celebrity thing I was just touching on is really the how of how most people end up ignoring that kind of thing. It's celebrityism, it's sports, it's college and work. All of those things serve as distractions and kind of hypnotic.
Right.
You know, there's so much propaganda that's around them too. I mean, it gets like addictive for people, and in that kind of addictive scenario, like with addiction, everything else kind of just goes out the window. And you know, quitting that system seems like the hardest possible thing we could do. But at the same time, we have the force of progressivism, which, like the force of abolition in the late 1800s, like the civil rights movement in the 1950s, and even like some of the socialist movements in the 30s and 40s in America, all of those movements have never been popular, but they've still made lasting changes.
Right.
And even if they're not the type of lasting changes that we need, obviously, because the system's still falling apart. But at the same time, if we didn't have those changes, God knows how much worse it would be.
Oh, yeah.
One of the really interesting facts that I was reading in one of the episodes of the Shape and Progress show about specifically the civil rights movement is in the civil rights movement, black people had 51 cents of every dollar that white people had. Today, for instance, it's exactly the same.
Right.
It's still 51 cents on the dollar.
Right.
White Americans think that black Americans have 90% of the wealth that white people do. They actually have 10% of the wealth white people do.
Right.
So those kind of statistics are real condemnations of the system that we've got going here. It's just a matter of uniting enough to combat all of the people who are trying to feed into that.
That's great.
Anti-reality propaganda.
Absolutely. And that's why people should join Shaping Progress at joinshapingprogress.com, right? Is it org or com?
.org.
.org, great. I'll get it right eventually. Joinshapingprogress.org. This is Tara Devlin. Thank you for hanging out. Unapologetic liberal talk on the right side of history, decency, dignity, democracy. We will win. We stick together. We win. My name is Tara Devlin. I'll see you soon. The show's not over yet. Just hang out.
I'm dancing along.
Yep. Yeah, it's not over. That's only the Progressive Voices part of the show. So they have a shorter show because they put commercials in it. So that's why I had to do the timing cues. It's whatever. It is what it is. So we still have time. We have a half hour. So, What were you
Thank
saying?
you very much.
Yeah. Say again?
I was just saying thank you very much for giving us the opportunity and for always promoting the show and everything.
Of course.
I'm super excited to have you on here very soon. Sorry we had the technical difficulties.
Oh, you're fine.
I was just discussing with Mark yesterday how I was happy and surprised that folks your age and you know, in the age group of some of your followers are down to listen to us and support us.
Oh yeah.
You know,
of course.
It often feels like the older generations aren't as interested in hearing what the generations have to say.
Right. Well, that kind of annoys me too, because I hear there's this every now and then you'll hear someone on the corporate media saying, you know, put on your big boy pants, like they're talking about millennials as if millennials are some kind, they're so bratty or they're so privileged. This generation has seen a lot. They're on the wrong side of Reaganomics. The 2 economic crashes. I mean, we could go on. The pandemic, more recent. I mean, but so much school shootings and the American dream has been basically shipped to Norway. You know, what are you talking about? But it's another way that people that the power structure keeps everybody in their place. So it's not what they're saying is it's not the system, it's you. If you can't pull yourself up by your bootstraps and I don't know, marry a billionaire and pay off your student loan debt, it's because of you. You're lazy. You've had everything. I mean, it's so vile. And then they talk about the greatest generation, right, which is the World War II generation. And I always remind people, you know, the greatest generation voted for FDR's socialist New Deal in 4 landslide elections. And the only reason he wasn't elected again was because he was dead. So if that's the greatest generation, sure, let's all go back to that time when we had a top marginal tax rate of 90%, where 35% of the labor force was unionized. I mean, we can go on. That's why, and then people say, oh, well, the reason we had a middle class, the reason the middle class was built in after World War II was because Europe was in ruins. And that's true to an extent, but the fact is our exports were only 5%. So the majority of the middle class, the economic boom during after World War II was because of the New Deal and how it built the middle class from the ground up. It wasn't just luck or that just the fact that Europe was in ruins. There was nobody who, in fact, we had the Marshall Plan, which is another socialist plan that we didn't build Europe, rebuild it. The people of Europe rebuilt it in the Marshall Plan. We just, we funded it. So, there's a lot of misconceptions, and also it's by design too, deliberate. The Republicans have, they have a vested interest in really denigrating the New Deal, but people don't even realize. And we're talking about the disparity as far as in the time of the New Deal, the GI Bill, for example. The many sections and parts of the GI Bill were not available to people who had darker pigment, even though they served, they fought, bled, and died. And I'm sure it must have been so galling to serve in the military, in the segregated military, which actually was an offense to some of our allies, especially the British, and then come home to the Jim Crow United States. And I think that's partly why the civil rights movement started too, because people were economically, they were more economically vibrant, and people who had darker pigment were like, F this crap. We just fought, bled, and died for this country. And now you're telling us to get to the back of the bus, right? Go ahead, sorry.
It was almost even worse for them in World War I, because the racism back then was so intense that white troops in the United States Army refused to fight alongside black troops.
Ugh.
So the black troops had to be stationed with French units.
Oh,
because
man.
the French units were the ones who were not racist enough to be willing to fight alongside them.
Right. And such hypocrisy on the part of the United States, too, to be fighting fascism when Hitler got his inspiration from the Jim Crow laws. They were the inspiration for the Nuremberg laws. Of course, the Nuremberg laws were horrible.
We mentioned during World War II that the United States was hypocritical because of exactly that.
Right. Well, it reminds me when AOC said something on the mainstream media and it was, she was correct. She said there were the racist aspects of the New Deal. She's made, by way of conversation, she called the New Deal, parts of the New Deal, racist. And the corporate media, of course, kicked right into gear to make sure that they push back on that and call her crazy. Oh, yeah, she's calling the New Deal racist. And they have this outrage, but they never explain. Explain. Why wasn't the New Deal racist? That is what drives me insane about the corporate media. It really is propaganda, because they never explain. Well, tell us why it wasn't racist, because I could tell you that my father and my uncles were able to use their GI Bill to go to college and to buy a house. That wasn't available to people who have darker pigment. They weren't allowed to buy homes with their New Deal, with their GI Bill. And that is outrageous. They were allowed to get into housing projects. That's what they could do. But they weren't allowed to build their intergenerational wealth. And that's how white Americans, rose up a little bit on the ladder at the time, because they were able to do that, and go to college. And these things were not available to people who had darker pigment, and it's just disgusting, of course, but also disgusting that the American people don't know it. And that is kind of alarming. We don't even know our own history in this country. So that's why. Are you still there? Hello? Oh, no. I think they hung up. Well, that's how it goes, We just hang up, and we don't say anything. That's the millennials. They do stuff like that. They're sort of like, boom, okay, I'm done. And they go. And I like that part about them. I appreciate it. But when that's what happens. You know I have this, I guess it's a little bit of, it is a little nerves, but I have diarrhea of the mouth sometimes. But I call it the Tarabuster, but it's when people aren't responding, I'm like, okay, keep talking in my mind.
We're boots on the ground here. We're moving on to Capitol now. I'll give you a boots on the ground update here.
I just wanted to show everybody the Patriots, the legitimate political, whatever the hell, discourse, legitimate political discourse of January 6th.
Multiple capital injuries.
Legitimate political discourse. Multiple capital injuries. Okay. There you go. They're legitimate. take the building.
Even Trump, we are still taking metal, sharpened objects, missiles to include bottles and rocks, and hand-thrown chemical-grade fireworks.
Legitimate political discourse, ladies and gentlemen. How do they get away with this? And how is it that anybody's going to vote for them? Now, I know the 35% of authoritarians are going to vote for them, but they're a lost cause. Like the lost cause that they're fighting for, which is really, it's the same old racism. Everybody in their place, their so-called natural place. How do they put these statements out with straight faces? People on the podcast, we're just playing the video. Actually, this is the video that the committees, the congressional committee, played during, I guess, Trump's impeachment, his second impeachment. This is effectively a riot. It's a political, just a little bit of disagreement. That's why you bring your bear spray and your zip ties. It's funny how I never see all of all during the, what do you call it? You know, how the Republicans play the both sides game. And supposedly, over the summer, cities burned to the ground. I don't know where these cities are. Does anybody know? I keep hearing Republicans say cities burned to the ground. And that's just as bad as what happened on January 6th. What city? Where's anybody? I mean, I know there were problems, but many of the problems were created by the agents provocateur. The ones who, the right-wingers, who some of them were actually arrested. One right-winger, one of these boogaloo bullshits, shot into a police station, yelling, "Justice for George Floyd." This is what they do. They always talk about false flag operations and supposedly what we're doing. But you better believe it's nothing but psychological projection. That's it. That's why when Tucker Carlson says, "I'm not a Russian agent," you better, I will put my life on it. That son of a bitch is a Russian agent. Either he's a deliberate Russian agent or he's a useless idiot for them. Why are they playing your clips? I would be ashamed and embarrassed if Russia was playing these clips as if I was validating them. I would be ashamed. But I'm not a traitor, you see. I'm not. I'm actually a patriot. These right-wingers wouldn't understand what that means. They think that being a patriot is wearing an eagle on your shirt with some stars that say, "Freedom isn't free." When they wouldn't even pay. They can't even handle. When you talk freedom isn't free, everybody else has got to pay, right? These people couldn't handle freedom. It's just freedom to, I mean, when we're talking about freedom, we're talking about being able to have a decent society where we go to vote. You don't have to wait online for 12 hours to vote. That's freedom. Where you expect a living wage for the time you put in out of your life that you'll never get back, that you're working. Okay, you just deserve a living wage. Not only that, the country deserves it. It's not just nice, it's vital for democracy. That's why we do it. That's why we can't have billionaires. They are detrimental to democracy. I mean, sometimes when I'm on the show and we're talking about things, it feels so overwhelming. It does. It feels so insurmountable how many problems we have, what we have to do to overcome. And on the other hand, I think, okay, is this bottom yet? Have we hit bottom? Because if we hit bottom and we don't rebuild in a way that shores and that protects democracy and, you know, unifies the country, we're done.
9 hours declaring it a riot.
Look, there's the legitimate political discourse. When you steal a riot shield from some of the Capitol Police and then you use it to smash windows. That's what they do all over the country. There's legitimate political discourse going on when they're putting, well, Rachel Maddow had footage of another one of these legitimate political discoursers firebombing a Democratic Party office. But they've done this forever. No, show me a story of a Democrat firebombing a Republican Party office. Anybody? Can you show me that? I would love to see it. We'll talk about it on the air. Show me anything. Show me a rally where people have zip ties, bear spray, and cattle prods. All right? I'm kidding. I'm not kidding. I want to see. Every protest I've ever been to, even ones where Mike Malloy got arrested, not a zip tie in the bunch. Well, except for the cops. They zip tied Mike, but I didn't see and none of the protesters had cattle prods. Nobody took a shit in on the fence just to show everybody how much they hate America. Legitimate political discourse is taking a dump in the Capitol, urinating in the Capitol, trashing the offices of duly elected representatives. We saw the pictures. You saw the pictures of Nancy Pelosi's office, how it was ransacked. That's legitimate political discourse. I'm sorry, I can't get over it. Just when I think they've hit bottom, the trapdoor opens and they go flying down 15 more levels into hell. Legitimate political discourse. How do they do this with a straight face? They must know that they're fascists. And that's it. This is full tilt boogie fascism. They know it, and they see blood in the water, and they're coming in for the kill. Dim Fiora, dumb leader, all in the name of a con man who failed selling multi-level marketing fake vitamins, which I find to be his most one of his most disgusting, including Trump, the Trump University. But the Trump Network vitamins never gets the attention that it deserves.
Okay, guys, apparently this tip of the spear has entered the Capitol building.
Oh, well, there's Romney running from legitimate political discourse. A bunch of brown shirts running into the rotunda. Unreal. Wow.
At least it's Capitol we can defend. We gotta hold what we have. Get hands off.
Wait a minute. Mark? What the hell, Mark? What happened? Are you there?
I'm so sorry. The phone. Yeah.
What happened?
The phone died. We had to wait for it
Oh.
to recharge. I thought it was
I didn't know
charging
what
the car on
happened.
the way over.
I was scared.
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
I thought
Yeah,
some Republican
I
got you.
realized-
I thought
Yeah.
that they broke
It went
in and
to-
took you like the Proud Boys or something came in. Anyway.
No, there's a welcome mat outside of the apartment we're in here together, and it says "Come back with a warrant." So that might have.
I like
that.
that.
Might scare them off.
I gotta get
Yeah,
one.
Me too.
That's good.
Yeah.
Right, come
It's all
back with a
great.
warrant. That's pretty good.
Told them about the welcome mat.
So on the phone we have Mark Middlestaedt and Saul. I don't know his last name, but he's the producer of Shaping
right.
Progress. What?
Yeah. How'd you know my last name?
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Shaping Progress, and they're millennials.
He's a little more private than we
Yeah,
are,
I know, right?
Yeah.
It's true. I should have. I don't know. It's putting your face out
kind
there
of a
is a.
distinct name to be private with is the only issue. Yeah. My real name sounds more like a pseudonym than anything I could come up with on my own.
Right. Well, we won't tell. We won't say it. So Mark and Saul run Shaping Progress. ShapingProgress.org. Join ShapingProgress.org. This is a organization that, well, for example, Mark's show yesterday we discussed spirituality and philosophy, but these are issues that are all connected. I love that topic. Spirituality and philosophy, and what I said on the show was true. The only complaint I had was that it was too short. Because we could really go on. I don't know. You want to talk about it now? Because I think first of all of our political problems can be boiled down to the fact that we are deluded in that we don't understand or know or want accept that we are all connected. And that is, to me, it is spirituality. Spirituality and politics it's together for me. That's how I feel about it. I'm involved and engaged because I don't know, the people on the chat and those that we reach, we're getting the word out. Yes, we are connected. It matters that, we're in this together. If someone is left behind, we're all left behind. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, you realize that empathy is not just a value, it's an obligation. And without it, our society starts to fracture and crumble.
Right.
Which is,
That's right.
what we're looking at now.
Exactly.
What humans have looked at over and over again for thousands of years.
Right.
Yeah. The thing that I also always like to tie it back to with philosophy and spirituality is, at the end of the day, we can tell that we can, it's like that old saying, we're in this world but not of it, So when we're dealing with these problems, we can get very distraught about the progress that we are making or the way that it's going. But at the end of the day, we don't just disappear. Before we were born, were we just nowhere? Were we just nothing?
Right. I know.
Even if we were, that doesn't sound as bad as this.
I
this
know.
can feel every once in a
Right.
while. So, to that extent, I mean, we can get really caught up with the world's problems, but at the same time, we have to remember to be in these problems, but not of them. We can't
That's
let
very
them
good.
affect us that much.
Do you hear this kid? He's wise. You must have been my father or something in a past life. Something.
That's
No.
right.
He's an avid reader.
Yes. Well, that's the key, really. The intellectual curiosity. But the sad thing is that some people don't have empathy. They're sick. They're sociopaths. They're narcissists. That's the symptom. You don't have empathy. You can't put yourself in somebody else's shoes. It's really like having a lizard brain, because that's what lizards are. They don't have, they don't connect to others. And Trump is a sociopath. Many of the people in top business are sociopaths and psychopaths because they don't care about others. They're the people that could fire the entire workforce because it'll add another zero on their bank account, and they'll do it with that, and they won't lose a wink of sleep. They don't think about it's selfish sociopathy. Yeah.
Yeah. So one big thing that I keep coming into contact with these philosophies and spiritualities is if you decide that we're sitting in this thing, but we're not, made out of our bodies, or we're not made out of ideas, that kind of thing. What you start to realize is that once you get here, you have two choices. You can decide that the other people that look like you, or even the ones that don't look like you, or just other beings in general, you can either decide to treat them with that love and empathy and respect, or you can decide that, yes, you're seeing them, but they don't actually matter,
right.
and so you can kill as many of them as you want, or that kind of thing. And so that's what really gets me to realize that I think we've all kind of made the decision of what we are to some degree. And I don't think there are many people who really believe that they're just their bodies or their brains.
Right. Well, that's true.
And so once you get to that point, then it's like, okay, now you have a clear-cut decision. So are you going to be the person who decides to go be a psychopath like Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos or those freaks or Donald Trump? Or are you going to do the opposite and try and unite with people and show love to people?
Right.
And at that point, it seems like a pretty easy decision to me, because
Yeah.
you could go through, if you believe in reincarnation, as many lives as you want being a dick, but it's not gonna help you out.
Right.
So.
It's really
Or
true.
anybody else.
That's a Buddhist principle too. You know, cause and effect. Everything in the action, the cause, the effect is built in. So whether it manifests now or 5 years, or when, you know, like when you're smoking a cigarette, you're making a cause that might manifest years later in cancer, you know, but there's something you're doing, everything matters. And I don't know, I'm debating with myself now, because I had a very weird, well, there's only 5 minutes left. Ugh. Because I had this spiritual, no, you don't be sorry. Maybe we'll talk about it we should, God, now that I said it. Well, all right, I'll tell you very quickly. I had this very weird experience when I was around 15 years old. And, okay, so I was hanging out with a friend of mine, and we were both, you know, smoking pot and whatever, smoking cigarettes. And my friend's mother was really religious, and she said, "You're coming with me to this mass. It's a Catholic mass, and it was run by this healer." Okay, so they do have this in Catholic masses. I think it's called something in the spirit. I can't remember, but it sounds, you know, it's not faith. He was like a healer, but it was something. They call it something like something in the spirit. I can't remember, but so we went, and my friend and I were like laughing our asses off, making fun of it, and you know, it was fun, laughing. And I'm sure you've seen those movies or videos where somebody's like, "Boogaboo, Jesus," and they fall back, and people catch. Well, it was like that, except it was a little bit less over the top. He was more subdued, this guy. Anyway, so my friend and I were laughing our asses off. I swear to you, I swear to the world, that this guy came over to me and my friend, and I woke up on the floor. Okay? And I looked to my friend, and he was still out, and I was like, Joe, And he looked at me, and we both were like, what the fuck? And we laughed our ass, ran out the door. And I was like shaking, and I was like, give me a cigarette. I was 15, right? Smoking. And so the next day, I remember being on the bus going to school, and all the kids were talking and laughing, and I was sitting in the back in the corner window, looking out the window, going, what the fuck was that, And I also felt that I didn't want to kill myself as much, Like I didn't have that crushing sense of whatever that was, angst and depression, and I felt like, wow, I don't want to, I feel like good, but it wore off. Okay, life went on. And if that didn't happen with somebody I know, because we would talk about that period, it was like, what the fuck was that, right? If it had happened to me just by myself, I would probably think I was delusional, misremembering or whatever. So years later, went through life a little bit. I was an addict. Now I'm clean, right? And I'm practicing Buddhism. And I at the time I was practicing Zen before I found Nichiren Buddhism. So I was in the Zen temple. They had you go and have direct teaching with the monk. So I went in there, and you can ask a question, and I told her this story, and I said, because I said, do you believe in God? And of course, there's no God in Buddhism. And I told her this story, and she said, maybe he saw no separation. And then she rang the bell, like, jing, jing, your time's over. But I have to tell you, that happened. And to me, I felt like that was somehow, we are all connected. And that's really what I feel today. And I know that there's some more here than meets the eye. I don't know what it is. I'm not arrogant enough to know what it is, you know what I mean? But I think
a lot of people spend their whole lives trying to figure it out, and I think it's a fruitless search because it's sort of an unanswerable question.
Right. But that experience, it still haunts me to a degree. Like, so and let me tell you, during my, in the deepest depths of my addiction, when I was in the grips and in despair, I would think, what was that? Because I would think, there's no God, there's no hope, there's no whatever, and then I would say to myself, well, what was that? What was that? And I just could not ever dismiss it. But I don't know. I don't think it. You guys, we talk about spirituality. I don't believe in a man on a cloud, but I do believe, that there is more here than meets the eye. We don't have the language to even know how to ask the questions. But when you boil it down, it really is that we are all connected. And if anything that deviates from that is making us sick, greed. Yeah. And that's why we're suffering, as a species, really. So, I don't know. We could talk about
it implies we have an obligation to each other, which we're not fulfilling.
It's true. It is true. Yeah, that's it.
I know we don't have much time left, but real quick, I wanted to ask: was there the Zen leader at the time they said in that moment there was no separation?
Yes. She said perhaps he saw no separation. That's what she said, and because I told her, yeah.
That's super interesting to me because, like Sol was saying, that I'm an avid reader, and about 8 months ago now, I encountered this book that is basically the spiritual teachings that I subscribe to personally. And it's called A Course in Miracles.
Oh, yeah. I've known that. I know that a lot. Yeah, I've done that, actually.
Yeah.
So, wait, hold on. We got to wrap it up. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Saul. And join shapingprogress.org. Go to joinshapingprogress.org and sign up. We will win.
Thank you, Tara.
You got it. Don't hang up yet. My name is Tara Devlin. Thank you so much for hanging out. Become a patron at patreon.com/Tara Devlin if you can, and we stick together. We win. We're on the right side of history, decency, dignity, democracy. My name is Tara Devlin. I'll see you soon. All right, it's over. I did fix that. I don't know why I keep... What's that? My outro's...
Your outro is fantastic.
Oh, yes. Thank you. I appreciate that.
The right side of history is
yes,
for sure.
That's it. That's how I feel. I mean, right side of history. That's what I think about the Republicans. How are you so... just on the wrong side of history all the time. How do you live like that?
They don't care.
Right, they don't care. And it's really greed. So, and it's delusion too, because you see what a miserable bastard Trump is. It's not making him happy. It's more.
Yeah.
Right? And we're effed up. All right, so let me, that's it, really. That's tonight's show. I don't know. We ran the gamut of emotions. I revealed a very weird thing that happened to me. It wasn't aliens. I don't know. I used to wish aliens would come and get me, but they haven't so far. I don't know what the hell it was, but we could talk more about it later, another day. And so thank you guys, and I'm just gonna we'll wrap it up. Everybody in the chat, I wanted to see what just want to say whatever. All right, guys, I'll talk to you later. Thank you so much for hanging out, and we'll talk later about our phone, our patron phone call and all that. All right.
Yeah.
I need you. I need your help.
Great.
Yeah. All righty.
Oh yeah.
I'll talk to you later, guys.
We love you, Tara.
Love you so much.
See you later.
I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Alrighty, guys. Let me see. I want to see what you're saying in the chat. I wasn't able to as we were. Let me see. I just want to see what you're saying about my weird thing. Maybe you're not saying anything. Okay, whatever. All right, guys. That's all right. You don't have to say anything. You don't have to say nothing. Listen. We're gonna win. And let me see. I'm trying to think when we will do another show. Oh my God. Monday, Tuesday. Well, we did how many shows? We did 4 shows last week, or no, 3. That's good. No producer tonight. Oh, look at him. Hi, honey. Oh, isn't he good? He's such a good boy. All right, my friends. I guess I'm gonna go get unconscious and pray that the aliens take me away. And thank you. I just want to thank you again, guys. Jim and Richard and JD and Errol and Jim again. And JL's a J and Mark C. Thank you so much for your super chats tonight. And thank you all for your patronage and your support. It means everything because I really can't do it without you. And we're getting, we have a pretty great chat room, I think. I really do. We really are building our community. If you're interested, you can join us on Discord and keep in touch during the week. I see those. I see your messages and all there. It's probably the best place to get me. A lot of people will email or message me on Facebook or whatever, and sometimes I don't see it until later. But Discord, I will see pretty soon. But, all right. I don't even know what to say except, yeah, it's the best chat room, Mark. It is. And Mark, what we need to talk. Maybe you may. All right, I'm going to put it out there right now. Mark C is going to be our guest next Friday. This Friday coming up. All right. How do you like that? Does that work for you, Mark? You'll let me know. And Mark is he's also in the chat room. I mean, in our Discord room and on the Shaping Progress. And I think it's it will be good because as we're talking about spirituality too, that Mark's channel is helping me keep sane. And it's needed. We need that. I need it. So let me speak for myself. All right, my friends. Thank you so much. And I don't even know how to say goodbye. That's why I'm doing it like this. I'm like, how do you say goodbye to the greatest people on Earth, in the country, especially, and on Earth? We have JD. We have other people from different countries. I think that's great. I guess it's because it's such a shit show here. There's so much shit here. It's like watching a train wreck where where half the train is cheering for the wreck. That's what it's like. Ugh. And not just cheering for the wreck, they're also saying the N-word and zipping people with cattle prods and shit. What a world. All right. My name is Tara Devlin. You know that. Why do I keep saying that? But I guess because my father named me that, and he, and he's and I miss him. Oh, look at this. I just got somebody just sent a nice little note. Thank you. Very nice. Glenn Karen Murray. Oh, sorry. Let me see. You seem like a pantheist. I've been reading about it again after many moons and find it a good way to go, even politically. Thank you. Love you. Yes, Libby M. Okay, I didn't know that was you. You were the same person. A lot of people have different names, like Shadow Star Ace. Our friend Patricia, she's got a different name on here. It's hard to keep up with everybody's names. I can only keep up with my own name and my cat's names. So, but thank you. Yeah, maybe I'm not. I mean, I am more of a Buddhist, not a pantheist, because I don't believe in a sky spook, but I do believe in that we're all connected. That's why I chant Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. I'm in the SGI, which is a lay Buddhist organization that I love. It's great people, and it also reminds me of. It's a lot like the rooms of recovery. We have meetings. Well, not since the pandemic. We do Zoom, and people share their experiences, and that helps motivate, because I think if they can do it, so can I. So we need each other. So, but I do believe that I always think, as far as chanting, I know it sounds weird, right? And I think that too. It does. Why am I doing this? It's kind of weird. But personally, and also when I think, whatever, I think about it, it's about getting in tune with whatever that energy is. Because I know for a fact that I am very, I'm rarely very what do you call it, affected by energy, and I can't watch like horror movies. I don't like them. Some of them, like Silence of the Lambs, is good, but the just movies where people are killing each other for fun, I hate that. I don't understand it, and it like makes me feel bad. So anyway, whatever. That's what Republicans do to me too. You don't need to hear this. This is like I'm doing a shrink. My shrink is on. It's like all my shrinks. But all right, I should tell my shrink to watch the show and call it a day. All right, guys. Yes, the energy is you, Paradu says. It's all of us. It's all of us. I don't know. I think of it like this, too. Like 100 years ago, they didn't know X-rays or gamma rays or whatever, microwaves, until they had the instruments to detect them. And that's how I feel about life in general. There are so many layers to life. We just don't have the language or the capacity to tap in. Well, we have, to touch them or to know them, but they do affect us. Do you know what I mean? Either way. So we're in this together. That's why we stick together, we win, man. That's the fundamental spiritual truth of the universe, in my opinion. And there are spiritual laws of the universe, like there are laws of physics. Water will always freeze at 32 degrees, and I don't know, you can't love somebody until you love yourself. That's a spiritual law of the universe. And also, we stick together, we win. All right, enough of this. Enough of me preaching and sharing. I hope you had a good show. I hope you enjoyed it. And, we'll keep coming back because it works if you work it. White Rabbit says, good show. Thanks for helping with an idea. Tucker Carlson's dancing is way more entertaining to watch than Steve Martin as the jerk dancing in the background. Fun to make while listening. Take care. Yes. God. Clown. Goddamn clowns. And you see, when I see somebody like Tucker Carlson himself, he looks like he's a spiritually sick bastard. He's spiritually sick. Trump, the country's spiritually sick. And the remedy is not Jesus, I hate to tell you. Maybe if you actually followed the teachings, but it's not the way not their Jesus. Only wants one thing, gay bashing. Well, trans bashing, too. Oh, the other thing. Oh, man. Maybe we'll do this in the next show. I saw this thing, and it was very interesting. And I wanted to share it. I'm going to put it in. I'll put a pin in it, but we'll tease it. Let me see. You're going to like this. Yes. Have you heard of a hero of the American Revolution, the French cavalry officer named Casimir Pulaski? Not French, Polish, excuse me. Casimir Pulaski. Have you heard of him? Well, he went by him. But guess what, guys? Well, maybe we'll do it now. He was intersexed. He was whatever, and I'm not intersexed, but he was an intersex person. They only found this out recently when they exhumed his grave because they were renovating it, and it was falling into disrepair, and they opened it up and wanted to fix it up, and his bones were there. And so they were like, oh, is this really Casimir Pulaski's bones? So they did all kinds of genealogy tests, and using, like the 23andMe and whatnot, they found one of his relatives, and by putting the DNA from the bone into the system. So they found a relative. I don't know how they did it all the way. Now it's confusing me, but they found somebody who was his relative. So that's how they were able to verify that this was Casimir Pulaski. But his bones were that looked like a female. So that's why they were confused. And then they realized, or they discovered that he was intersex. Isn't that interesting? And because you got to think about just trans people and intersex people and hermaphrodite. There are more than people know. And this it must have been really difficult for this person to live in that time. And probably he excelled as a cavalry officer. They said he was fearless, daring, and he's the father of the American cavalry, really. And never married, never had relationships according to his biography. They thought he was just... and he stayed by himself a lot. That was the other thing. He was not... And probably because he was different and afraid of being discovered. It's pretty interesting. Let me show you. No, not that one. I thought that was so amazing and fascinating, and also sad too, because the poor person who had to live and die, and now still not being recognized. Here we go. That's him. So, and it's just fascinating to me. The skeleton unearthed from the site appeared characteristically female. That's what threw them off. They were like, these are because the hip bones were more female. Particularly the pelvic bones and delicate facial structure. It was possible, the researchers theorized, that the body buried at the monument was not Pulaski's, as some had suspected, but many of the skeleton's traits were consistent with Pulaski's known features. The age of his death, the height of the skeleton, a healed injury on his right hand. So everything pointed to it was him. Changes to the hip joints common in frequent riders, because he was riding horses since he could probably mount a horse. So the team came up with another theory. Pulaski was intersexed. 2 decades ago, this hypothesis was difficult to prove, but a new investigation into the DNA of the contested remains, recently chronicled in a Smithsonian Channel documentary, which I have to check out. I didn't know that, suggests that the skeleton remains does indeed belong to Pulaski. This in turn leads experts to conclude that the Revolutionary War hero was intersex, a general term that Intersex Society of North America writes applies to people who are born with a reproductive or sexual anatomy that doesn't seem to fit the typical definitions of female or male. Pulaski was born in Warsaw in 1745 and distinguished himself early as a skilled fighter. Excuse me. He participated in efforts to push back against the Russian interference in Poland's independence, eventually fled to France, where he met Benjamin Franklin, who recommended him to George Washington. By 1777, Pulaski had arrived in America ready to assist the revolutionaries. During the Battle of Brandywine, he led a bold charge against the British and has been credited with saving the American forces as they retreated. Congress subsequently named him general and chief of cavalry, and Pulaski formed a legion of mixed corps that helped repel the British from Charleston. He was, in other words, living a very masculine existence, said assistant professor of anthropology at Georgia Southern University, blah, 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 who was involved in the investigation into Pulaski's remains. And that must be from the documentary. Is this it? Oh, no, it's just a promo. Unfortunately, the general's life was cut short in October of 1779 when he was mortally wounded during a battle in Savannah. What happened next is not entirely clear. Some say Pulaski was taken onto a warship where he died and was buried at sea. Others maintain he had been transported to a French field hospital, and it was there that he was buried. Well, now we know, because these are his remains. In the 1850s, those remains were taken from a plantation and buried at Pulaski's Savannah monument. Even at the time, many doubted that the exhumed body truly belonged to the courageous Polish warrior. Anyway, so there you go. Life, people, human beings are diverse and amazing and interesting, and it's just sad that this poor guy, or I guess guy, I don't know, what do you do, who lived and had to hide. But it's not unusual that people like him, who are different, probably he felt he had more to prove. So that's why he excelled in the cavalry and was so brave and was known for being a fierce fighter. So it's very interesting. And it should be told. That's a story that should be told. Right along with critical race theory. Don't you think? Isn't that more interesting than the bullshit they're trying to peddle? Like, I don't know, I cannot tell a lie. George Washington cannot tell a lie. He told a lot of lies. In fact, he was pretty much responsible for, what was that? Was he for the 7 Years' War? Was that it? Because he killed a French diplomat by accident. Fucking guy. And then he lied about it. And continued to lie about it because he was covering his ass. So, give me a break here. Give me a break. All right. You don't hear that on Tucker Carlson's show, do you? That Casimir Pulaski, the great general, the father of the American cavalry, was intersex? Anybody? You hear that? How come they can't handle life? This is life, man. I mean, people are... we're sharing this time with people and all kinds of people. It's just, why do we gotta be dicks? All right, my friend. Oh, thank you. Winston Smith says, very interesting, Tara. I really love that I learn new things watching your show. Thank you. I love that. I love that you're learning things, too. And that you're getting it, I mean, what? That sounded like a dick, right? I didn't mean it like that. I mean, I love that that's how you know what I'm saying. You can, I don't know, foot and mouth disease tonight. I don't want to hang up, but we gotta. All right. I we'll talk about it again because I think that a lot of people won't tune in to the end. This is like an Easter egg at the end. And you think it's over, and then you learn a whole thing about Casimir Pulaski, about our intersex father of the American cavalry, hero of the revolution. Ask any of those Proud Boys what they think of that. You know what they think? Oh, I don't have it ready. They think,
I don't feel good about turning down money. Because my whole life I've been greedy. I grabbed all the money. I'm so greedy.
I'm so greedy. I'm greedy. That should have been a disqualifier right there. I'm so greedy. Well, after he came down the escalator calling Mexicans rapists, we should have said, bye, fascist. Oh, that's a fascist. Fuck that. See you later. And then when he called the Tiki Torch scums good, very fine people, I don't feel good turning down money. No, you don't. You're a con man. That's why you found the most lucrative con of your life with these suckers, these Trump suckers. Jesus Christ. And you know for a fact, I mean, he's the most miserable puss on earth. He really is. Jesus Christ. Everybody hates him. He hates himself. He hates his wives. He hates his kids, except his daughter he wants to fuck. Excuse my language. But that's the truth. You know that when he said, if Ivanka wasn't my daughter, I'd be dating her, he thought he was giving a compliment. Because that's the highest compliment you can get from him. He wants to bang you. I would love to bang my daughter if she wasn't my daughter. How sick is that? That is sick. And these people are like, ugh. Very fine people, right? Very fine.
Jews will not replace us! Jews will not replace us!
Yep. Tiny minds, tiny. All around tiny. All right, guys. I'm looking at the time. I'm losing my voice. I'm going to go lay down and, I don't know, watch some TV that doesn't take place in this time. That's my goal. I usually do that because it's a way of escaping. Thank you, Terry Taylor. It's the fucking truth, Tara. Exactly. Yes. Errol Thomas says it's all right for you to use obscenities on the show, but you know, I don't know. It's all right, but I think YouTube gets not good about it, and I don't know. It doesn't seem good, as good. When warranted, yes. But I do curse in my daily life, not like a sailor, but in conversation I'll say fuck that or whatever. All right, guys, I don't know what I'm gonna watch though. I've been watching a lot of Nazi stuff lately. Not movie. Well, I saw Munich. That was good on Netflix, which is very interesting. About right before the Nazis truly, fucked up the world. Well, they did. They fucked it up there too. But about Hitler, the building up, and two friends, one British, one German. All right, guys, we're gonna win. All right? We are on the right side of history, like Casimir Pulaski, one of our heroes. We're on the right side of decency, dignity, and democracy. We will win. We stick together. We win. My name is Tara Devlin. Thank you so much for hanging out. I'll see you very soon.